Hello, Otafest listeners, and welcome back to Season 9, Episode 8, Episode 233, wow,
Holy.
of the Otafest podcast.
Hooray!
That's a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of episodes. I'm
That's a
back,
lot of
I'm
us.
Dio, and I'm here with some lovely people, including...
Jay.
Angelo!
Nancy.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's correct. It's the right people. Yes. Bro, I'm looking at everyone and that threw me off. But
We're
yeah,
here to flashbang Dio.
give me a flashbang mental. But make sure that you don't get flashbanged by your last chance to get the early bird prices on your Otafest weekend passes. They're available now at the early bird price of $59.37, including Eventbrite fees. Go to otafest.com to pick those up. You already missed the first tier. And you don't want to miss the second tier of early bird pricing, so make sure you go get that. Otafest.com. $59.37, including fees.
Yes.
A whole con
Yes.
weekend.
Indeed.
A whole weekend of fun and enjoyment and hanging out with your friends.
And spending money on other stuff.
Indeed, buying yourself all your favorite fancy, nerdy goodies and trinkets and prizes and treasures.
Yes, treasures.
Like
that's
bowls
the
of
one.
ramen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't get bowls of ramen.
I could use a bowl of ramen right now.
Yeah, you're a little grumbly. Your tummy's upset. Your throat's a little raw.
Yeah.
Last Otafest, I think I went to the ramen bar every single day. It
And
was
it- I-
fantastic.
Yeah, and it was good.
Yes.
It was really good. It was 10 out of 10 experience. I loved it.
Good use of your experience time. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
I will say one thing that I've noticed, it's an experience I haven't had at any other convention that I've been to, is that we really pull in a lot of like the local Japanese food fare. Like you get to go to Konbini and you can get Japanese snacks and confectionery, but you can also go and get ramen from the ramen bar. Like I've never had that experience at any other convention where you can have like Japanese food at your Japanese pop culture festival.
That melon condo.
I know this isn't something that we could do, but imagine if we somehow found a way to set up like a yokocho along Stephen Avenue.
Oh my gosh.
Just have a bunch of different Japanese food restaurants lining the road.
I mean, we
Hell
get
yeah.
kind of
Maybe
close
stalls.
with the food trucks.
Yeah, true. It's not
We get
quite
close.
the same, but it's close.
It's close.
Close experience.
It's close.
Mm-hmm.
It's close.
It would be nice. It would be cool.
But I think for multiple reasons that would be against our event guidelines. But
Yeah.
Nintendo has their own set of event guidelines that have been causing something of a stir.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if you missed it, just a week and a little bit ago, Nintendo announced some guidelines around how you must run community events featuring Nintendo properties. And primarily, we see a lot of Smash Brothers tournaments, like here in Calgary,
was
as well
last
as at
year, or
Otafest.
Was it the year before that there was a big uproar about a specific Smash Bros. Melee tournament?
Yeah, it got canceled,
That
like right
Nintendo
up
decided
against
to
it.
rules lawyer out of existence.
Oof. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
And so the new guidelines are to try to stop any of that from happening again. And when I read the guidelines, my immediate thought is the only way that doesn't happen again is because Nintendo's new community guidelines are making events so small as to be negligible.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to read it. I'm conflicted. There's a part of me that really, really loves grassroots, like community driven stuff. Like
100%,
I love seeing what people who are just passionate about a thing and sit down and work together and organize and make it happen. And I love
That's how
that.
Otafest started.
Yeah, that's how we started.
That's how Otafest started. So like
And look at
I
us.
and look at us now. So, you know, there's a part of me that always really loves that and wants to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, do understand, I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand why Nintendo is so strict with the use of its IPs and its intellectual property. Both because that's a really big thing in Japanese culture in general, and Nintendo is a Japanese company. But also because Nintendo in particular, their really big sort of selling point is not actually necessarily their games and their products themselves, but the perception of their brand and those products and games as a result. And I think these guidelines are really trying to protect that and really sort of like gatekeep the Nintendo brand and who has access to it and who can have Nintendo related events and gatherings. But I don't love it because to me it really limits the fans, and the fans are why, you know, Nintendo exists and why Nintendo products are so popular, is because people want them. So it's kind of like, it's a push and a pull. I think it's an attempt to strike a balance, but I don't feel like it strikes a balance.
Let's talk about what some of these new restrictions are.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of the big things would probably be the way that how many participants you can have, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an in-person event, you can have maximum of 200 participants. Now, I'm not 100% certain. I feel like the way that it's worded, it could be, if it's a community tournament, you could have maximum 200 people playing in the tournament, or 300 people if you're playing online. Now, that doesn't seem too bad. That actually seems like a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Like, that would be a big event to have, like, 300 online players.
It doesn't seem like it has any limitation on the amount of spectators. The only limitation I saw on spectators is that for a participant, you can charge them a maximum of $20 to play. For a spectator, if they are in person, they can pay a maximum of $15. And with that, the other thing that I read, the participant fee, that can go to the prize pool, but the spectator fee absolutely cannot. The spectator fee can only go towards costs to run the event itself.
Mm-hmm. And that seems like a very specific distinction, to the point where I wonder why they felt the need to make that distinction.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Like,
now, for online spectators, gotta be free. No charge possible. Under no circumstances can you pay for online viewers.
yeah, and that's
Rather,
very fair.
can online viewers pay to view?
Yeah. And I think that's very fair. I
100%.
think for spectators, for in-person spectators, like, there are costs with running an in-person event that, like, having a spectator fee, you know, does make sense to cover things like, if you're gonna seat people in a venue, well, you need to pay for that venue and for people to have a place to sit.
It
Yes.
can't just be Steve's garage.
Yeah, and
Darn.
usually as well, like, if people are paying for a seat, they probably, you know, want to have beverages, whether they're adult beverages or just regular beverages.
Which
They
is
might
very
wanna
funny.
have snacks.
No, that's very funny. So, one of the other guidelines was also that events are prohibited from selling food, beverages, and or merchandise.
Indeed. So it's you can pay for only your seat. You cannot have the things that you would typically want in a sit-down experience, like a beverage or snacks.
And you are not allowed to make money on the event at all. No profit allowed.
Yeah, you have to break even. Like, your costs should either be, if for participants, like people playing, it should be to fund their prize pool up to a set amount. And then for people who are spectating, it can only be to cover the cost of people coming in to spectate. So, like, your lights and AV rental, your venue rental. It's 50-50. Like, on one hand, I understand why they don't want people to sell merchandise, because that gives the impression of sponsorship.
That you're officially
licensed or sponsored or
licensed.
something.
Or like an officially sponsored event.
And I understand why Nintendo might be saying no alcohol, because, again, a big part of their branding
Is
is
being
family
family
friendly.
friendly.
is
Mhm.
exactly is being family friendly, and alcohol isn't necessarily family friendly. But I would make the argument again, I'm thinking back to Otafest and what we do. We are a family friendly event, but we do have some adults only content.
Mhm. We do. We
I'm
have
going
after
to
hours.
the Kyoto Aquarium and I can get a beer there. Come on.
I mean, that's also true. Like lots of family friendly events and venues do have, alcohol where, you get ID'd, of course. And we do the
Mhm.
same thing at Otafest when
Mhm.
we have like 18 plus panels. We ID people coming into the panel rooms to make sure they're of age.
I don't think that Nintendo trusts gamers with beer.
Correct. I think in general, I don't think Nintendo trusts gamers
At
with
all.
being family friendly at all.
I mean,
You know what? They'd be
Yeah.
in
right.
fairness, they're not wrong.
They're
Because
right.
Correct.
They're correct.
Yeah, the established history of competitive
Smash.
environments
And
has
competitive
just
Smash in
been-
particular.
Yeah, like it's not known for wholesomeness. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would say that is the most podcast safe way to put it. It is not particularly known to be wholesome or family friendly, which
Fine.
definitely is going to clash with Nintendo's brand identity and what they probably want for their events.
Now, one
Right.
last thing that was in there was that any given prize at a Nintendo community event cannot be more than $5,000 US. Now, quite frankly, I think $5,000 US for a single prize is absolutely understandable. That's pretty good. Quite frankly, if I got a month's wages for winning a Smash tournament, I'd be pretty happy.
I think the thing unfortunately that you're misinterpreting is that for a single prize doesn't necessarily, like, you can interpret that two ways. It could be the max is 5,000 for a single individual prize.
No, it is 5,000 for a single individual prize. Now, there's a second part to that.
What about the total prize pool?
The total amount of prizes that a organizer can hand out over the course of an entire year is a value of $10,000.
So you see, this is where things become really quirky, is like,
Mhm.
that means you can host at most, if you want to hit that 5,000 limit, you can
do two events.
two tournaments where
or
winner
two prizes.
you can do two events where it's winners takes all.
Or you do a series of much smaller prizes for your top 3, or
something. But even
Or
then,
if you have one event and you use the entire $10,000 prize pool that you're allowed to offer.
yeah,
Right.
and you split it up where it's
Right.
like maybe first place gets 5,000, second place gets some amount, third place gets some amount.
Mm.
But it's a little like, you know what I mean? 5,000 for a single prize pool, I agree with you, is a lot of money. But if that's your one prize pool for the whole year?
10,000 is your prize pool for the whole year.
Yeah, like if
And 5,000
no.
is the
I mean,
maximum
as an
prize.
individual winner.
That's nothing. That's not huge.
That's what I'm saying.
So
if
hold
you-
up. Okay, so question on the wording. Did they specifically specify that there was a cap on prize money, or was it prize value?
Prize value.
Yeah, so that
Oh.
means there's a limit on how much cash you can get and also how much you can get based on a thing's value in cash. So if you get
A event organizer is allowed to give prizes that are goods, services, or cash.
but they have to be tied back to some value.
Yes.
And that total value can't exceed $10,000.
Yeah,
So
but
it
you could
means-
be like, you can get around that. You can be like, this
You can.
prize that I have, it is worth 1 cent, and there
It's
is
true.
100,000 of them.
There's 100,000 of them. But while you can get around it, you're going to have a tough time having your event be appealing. Like, I would say cash prizes are big draws for esports events.
Yeah,
Because
I was
a
thinking
cash prize is always going to be worth the most
100%.
over any other kind of prize.
100%. But like if the wording was like, oh, prize money is capped at 5,000. Okay, well we can throw in other prizes that have a very good value but isn't a cash prize.
Isn't a cash prize.
But if they're talking about just like prize value of
Total value of
$5,000,
prizes.
Yeah.
that's very restrictive.
It is very restrictive.
Yes.
And it means that, like, let's say you're, and they do exist, let's say you're a professional Smash player. If you can only do, you know, a couple of events, if there's only going to be a couple of events per year that are hosted.
If you've got to be winning every tournament every month to be making 50 grand a year before tax, you might as well go flip burgers and McDonald's.
Yeah. Like,
although, to be fair, if you're that good, you probably got other revenue streams. But point remains,
it's a little restrictive.
nobody's gonna be an esports. Nobody's gonna make a living with Nintendo esports.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Nintendo's relationship with the competitive community is already quite tense.
Rocky.
Yeah.
They canceled. They outright got the World Tour 2022. So last year, and I believe it was in November sometime, they got that canceled just like days out from the actual event.
Yeah, I think it was within like 72 hours. It was like, nope, no event. Absolutely none.
Yeah. And that's part of why it was such an outcry from the community. Because not only was it Nintendo not just pulling back any agreements they had, it was there were agreements until like 3 days for the event or something, like within a week of the event. And then suddenly, by the way, no, you can't do any of this.
We've changed our mind.
We have altered the deal. Pray that we do not alter it further.
And that says to me that they're a little out of touch with what their community actually needs and wants.
That is an understatement. That is the understatement of the decade.
Thank you.
Nintendo is I've said this so many times, and we don't have Nintendo as a sponsor ever, do we?
Mm-mm.
We have Nintendo as a vendor partner sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be nice then. Nintendo hates their customers.
Wow, I'm scared to know what the...
No, they just know how to. They just control their brand and their audience.
Yeah,
That's all it is. If they hated their customers, they wouldn't be literally one of the top media franchises in the world. I think technically speaking, they are the top media franchise in the world, apart from like Disney's separate franchises.
Yeah,
And you're absolutely right.
I would say it's a matter of, indeed, they tightly control their brand and their audience and who they want to sell to.
Basically, if you express a lot of love and passion for Nintendo products, Nintendo will put a boot on your throat.
Yeah, Nintendo will not return.
Quietly enjoy their products.
It's a parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yikes. Yeah. I part of me really wants this to be an attempt at outreach, but it's so clearly not.
Like, I want it to be a nice middle ground, and maybe it's a stepping stone to a nice middle ground, but I feel like it's not quite in the middle yet.
And
the only thing that really surprises me is after reading through it, 200 to 300 participants is actually a lot more permissive than I expected.
Yeah, it's actually not bad.
Yes.
it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good size
that's
event.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, from parasocial to paranormal, Nancy, I see here that Phasmo haunted your laptop. What does that mean?
All right, so my community's been trying to get me to do a Halloween thing for a while because everybody knows that Nancy doesn't do well with spoop. Not that kind of spoop anyway. Like, I like the occasional cursed kind of spooky vibe, but not that level of
Don't you play
absolute...
that Monster Girls road trip game all the time?
Yeah, that's not spooky. That's not spooky.
That's absolutely
Phasmophobia
Halloween
is
themed.
like sheer terror for me.
Yeah, I think what Nancy's trying to say is she doesn't mind a creepy atmosphere, but she doesn't want to be actively scared.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it. So, this year, my hand was forced. Someone gifted me Phasmophobia, which means I now have to
Uh-oh.
play it. I don't have the excuse of I don't own the game. Shoot.
Yeah.
So, all right, fine. Halloween, we will try to do a Halloween stream. Halloween came, and I got a horrible migraine right at lunch, and we have the lovely weather right now to prove that I did. So, 2 days later, I just said it's fine. I'll just do a makeup stream for my regular stream day. So we moved it to a Thursday. So on Thursday, I'm getting everything set up. Everything's good. Starting the game up. I can log in. I can get into the menu settings. Cool. I'll get into a lobby. I get into the lobby and everything crashes to the point where my machine just turns off. And I'm like,
Oh no.
oh, that's weird. So commence.
Sounds like a yokai.
So commence a couple of attempts at trying to get my stream back up and running. So unplugging my second monitor, turning off everything else other than Phas and OBS, just running Phas. How about just streaming Genshin? No. My machine is now fully, entirely cursed and will not allow me to stream anything, let alone boot up a game. My goodness, no. So we got about as far as me joining a lobby and just starting. And that was it. We got to a point where some satanic people showed up and started doing a demonic summoning circle, and that's it. Everything crashed. So I decided yesterday to take it apart and rethermal paste everything.
Mm-hmm.
So now my machine will turn on.
Okay, that's an improvement.
It is an improvement. It will now turn on. I do not know if it is actually stream worthy though. Like, we're talking about a ship and I'm not really sure she's seaworthy. Like, I don't think I'd feel okay with actually raising anchor and pushing her out into the sea. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. And so I guess Phas really just honestly has cursed my PC. Because I do not know that she'll ever be able to sail again.
The spooky ghosts were like, yes, we are going to fry your motherboard now. And
like,
eat it
actually
all
fried.
paste.
Actually fried. Like, for a solid, 10 minutes after my last try at streaming, I don't think she would turn on again.
Wow.
My
So,
God.
I was actually a little terrified there for a bit. And I was just like, hey, everyone, I'm so sorry. Head over to this other person's stream while I deal with this. Bye. And so
I have a few different voodoo options, voodoo remedies to help with that. The one voodoo remedy that I really love for computers, and this is harder for laptops now, it used to be really easy for laptops, was that what you want to do, unplug it, and if it's a laptop, take the battery out. You need absolutely no sources of power for the laptop. And then you want to push the power button like 5 or 6 times. Because what you're doing, you are clearing out any residual electricity in the capacitors so that next time the laptop boots up, it's really good. Now, it's really weird for that to happen. A well-made device, that will not work. But I have had laptops where I've had to do this. I've had laptops where if I switched from Windows to Linux, and then I went back to Windows wouldn't recognize my Wi-Fi card until I did that procedure.
Now, I will remind the audience that since I have owned this machine, it has been a lot of a lemon. Not a bit of a lemon, a lot. Yeah. This is the same machine that I had to bring back.
That thing is like every citrus fruit known to man.
Oh, goodness. A whole salad.
Like,
I'm pretty sure that is like a lemon where if you peeled it, you just find seeds inside.
Like, I had to bring this back to get the speakers fixed, the Ethernet's cursed, I brought it back to the shop so many times. And
at what point do we just build you a desktop?
Right. So now everyone's just like, look, Nancy, I just made you a PC part picker list. Like, just go buy.
Just go do it.
So now I'm going to have to consider, like, saving up basically the a similar amount to how much it cost for us to fly over to Japan and back for having parts for PC effectively. So there it is. My streaming machine is dead. She is limping along.
Unlucky.
Rest in peace.
Which is
Unlucky.
terrible news because alongside all this candy that I had stockpiled for a hilariously sugar-fueled Screamfest, I just like was left feeling so unsatisfied with how my night ended.
Yeah, because that was not the plan at all. You were trying to have fun.
Yeah, and I'm doing Extra Life next month. So how am I going to stream Extra Life if I don't have a stream machine?
Time
Now,
for one of us to loan you ours.
Oh man.
One thing that you can do, you can do everything that you would do to stream, and then just record to your local machine instead. That will basically stress test everything. That'll stress test the encoder, everything except the network connection. So unless the network connection is the faulty part, you will find out what's wrong, or rather, if there's something wrong.
I'll find out with a series of my computer just turning itself off.
Yeah.
Now, my other option
Yeah.
is to run throttle stop all the time so that my
What is throttle
CPU
stop?
is just very, very, very slowed down.
I don't know what throttle stop is either.
I've never heard of this utility.
Oh, okay.
The name makes me think that it stops the CPU from throttling if it hits like over temperature,
So
which sounds like a
without
very bad thing.
without getting too deep into the weeds, there is actually a tool named Throttle Stop. It gives you a whole bunch of options with which to play with the performance of your machine. One of them is to actually just disable all core temperature monitoring and just let your cores run as hot as they want to. The other one is to throttle your CPU so that it never exceeds a certain temperature limit. But what that does is it kind of slows down the rate at which your CPUs actually run. So
Well, that's
it makes
built
them a
in.
little
That's by
bit dumber and a
default.
little bit slower.
Like every processor, Intel, AMD, for the last 25 years has had its TJ Max, and that is a temperature at which, if you reach that temperature, it throttles itself down.
Yeah.
It slows itself down.
Yeah, but I think-
sometimes very dramatically.
I think what Nancy is saying is this is the utility that she's using helps do that, but you can set it at a lower than default.
Correct. So
Interesting.
I can try and
Although-
run in very, very, very safe mode, but I don't think it's going to do well. So the other part of
On
this
a
too
laptop,
is
I
that
wouldn't recommend it.
well,
at
the
all.
other part of this too is that apparently, and I didn't know this, Phasmo has been known for being extremely resource intensive. So much so that even people who regularly stream it experience stuttering on their streams, or the sound stutters, or the stream cuts out. It's just a very common thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Phasmo is so poorly optimized
It's a
that
very
there's like
intensive
2
game.
or 3 other games that are exactly the same that are just Phasmo but optimized.
I feel like I should just play those games then.
I can't remember the names of them right now.
Yeah, I don't this is the first I didn't realize
I don't
they're
know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I also don't know what he's talking about, so I'm learning a new thing today.
Like, one of them is basically literally Phasmo, but a different name. One of them is in the same vein as Phasmo. I can't remember what the name is, but with that one, instead of hunting the ghost and figuring out what it is, you have to, like, collect goats from around the house and sacrifice them to seal the ghost.
What?
Yes. That one is much different.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So
All
I
it's just
remember,
like
though, is
Phasmo,
when-
except it's much different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dio
we don't
used
know-
to play
and we don't know the
Phasmo
name.
all the time. Dio used to play Phasmo frequently.
I did. I love
And-
Phasmo.
They would scream so loud that it would shake the house.
I do be a screamer. I am very easily jump scared.
And I tried Phasmo a couple times. I'm not really much of a horror game player, but I wanted to go in guns a-blazing. So I went in with VR. I went in Phasmo VR
Oh my god,
right off
you
the bat.
actually played it in VR.
And
I don't know
I
how.
hated it. It was... So part of it is the way that I played it. Part of it is just that it's not the type of game that I wanted to play. I understand Phasmo, and that's why I shouldn't have even tried it. I wanted to punch the ghost in the face. I wanted to go hoo-da-da-da-da-da, and because I was in VR, it felt like I could do that.
But you can't do that.
You
That's
can't
not
do
that's
that.
not a
Unga
mechanic
bunga this
in the game. Yeah, it does not
Yeah.
exist in this game.
Now, on top of that, because I'm not a regular player, because I only play it every now and then, I'm basically in it for, like, a tourist mode, you know? I have no idea what I'm doing, and so I have to actively ask what to do. I'm basically an automaton for the other people to verbally
Direct.
direct. Because if I'm not doing that, I literally have no idea what I'm even supposed to be doing in the game.
Look,
I
this was
have
supposed to be
no
my first
idea.
experience. I wasn't supposed to know what I was doing either. And, like, I didn't even get to that. I got to the point where I was just like, this is kind of creepy. Don't love it. And then that was it.
The PC was like, and you don't get to experience the rest of this, or anything else for that matter.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Well, that's okay.
All I remember is that my first Phasmo experience ended with me almost always dying first and then just dancing around the ghost as it killed everyone else.
Gosh.
I didn't even know you
Yep.
could do that. I will perhaps amuse myself with the fact that if I'm terrible at the game, I can also resort to Angelo's tactics.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Well, if you're playing in VR, yes.
Yep, you can always Fortnite dance on
Well, see,
spooky ghosts.
Here's the thing. I moved to a different VTuber model recently because I noticed how intensive Phas could be when I tried to boot it up. So it was just already something where I was having to cut things out of my regular streaming capabilities just to make it happen. So if I am getting to a point where I just can't even have VTuber rigging running, then why bother?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. Especially if that's the thing you always want to enjoy when you get like a new VTuber setup, right?
My little marshmallow Benui was ready to be absolutely terrified.
And it didn't get to be
And
terrified.
it did not get to be a
Be
terrified Benui.
terrified. Yeah.
How horrible.
How horrible. But you know what's
But
not horrible?
Uh-huh.
Other VTuber debuts that have been happening.
Yeah, I got to do a VTuber debut last week on Friday.
Yay!
Which I was very excited for. I learned a lot of lessons, like if I set, creative projects for myself, maybe don't go on vacation and then come back and think that I'm going to have like the energy and the time to get all of those creative projects done on a timeline. That was maybe not the smartest decision. I did get it done though. I really wanted to. I've been streaming on Twitch this is my 6-year anniversary, so 6 years.
Wow!
Yeah, 6 years. And I guess I've had a VTuber mascot for the past 2 of them.
Has it only been 2? I thought it's been like almost 3 years.
Maybe it was 3. It's either 2 or 3. But one thing that I really wanted to enjoy or really wanted to do was, one, my existing VTuber model, I love it, but the design was very simple because I don't really have a good design sense myself. So I wanted to commission someone else to take, I have this idea, I have this concept, I have like a skeleton of what I want things to look like, but like, can you put an artist's magic touch on it to make it something really good? Mm-hmm. And I was able to do that and also expand my model because my existing model was a bust up. So it was only from the chest upwards. So I didn't have like a torso. I didn't have legs. I was like, I want to have a full body so I can, dance around in my little mascot on screen.
Aww.
So I got to do that, and so I have a whole new design. The new concept is a clone. So I put together this little miniature set and filmed, like with a real camera, a lore video to tell the story of this clone character. And I got to show that off to my community as like a 6-year anniversary present.
That's awesome.
I thought the idea of making a lore video with like a miniature set and puppets was so unique that I really loved it. I vibed with it. Lore videos are a big thing for a lot of VTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they're like semi-animated or just a bunch of still frames or things like that. For the largest of the large VTubers, your Iron Mouses and Zentreas, they might be like full animated pieces of media.
Mm-hmm.
but a little miniature set with printed out paper dolls and things of that nature. It was just really fun, really good,
Mm.
and I got to be the narrator on the video. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, and that was the thing, was like a big thing for VTubers is to have a lore video. In my with my original VTuber model, my original mascot, I didn't really have a lore. Like there wasn't really a story, and for a long time, like there was kind of the sort of ongoing joke was whatever my community comes up with, that's the lore now. No matter how absurd, no matter how much it doesn't make any sense, like that's the lore now. And it was
At
like,
one point, weren't you a tooth-eating gremlin?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, that was the official lore.
Okay.
And so it was like, okay, well, this time I had like a really cohesive design that someone, I paid someone to build to design for me, and I get to own it and it's mine forever. And it's a really cohesive design, so I'd really like to have like a nice cohesive story to go around it. And I
Mhm.
thought a lot about, I could commission someone to do a lore video for me. Like, I could pay for some still arts and, have some narration and some voice work over top. And, it's basically a slideshow or an animatic. But, and that's what a lot of VTubers do. And I think it's really great. I know that I would personally never have the budget to do like a full animated feature.
To put the budgets into perspective, we've had some friends who've been looking into commissioning like fully animated lore videos or music videos or things like that. A fully animated 3-minute music video can cost you $35,000 US.
Yeah, they can be very expensive to have.
Mhm.
It's expensive to pay animators to work. And,
Yes. Well deserved.
exactly, well deserved. I knew that was not within the realm of my budget.
No.
And the biggest thing was that I wanted to do it myself. I'm not a very skilled like drawing artist per se. In terms of, how I like to express myself with art, it's mostly with crafting. And so that's usually like foam crafting to make cosplay props, or like textile crafting to make costumes. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to do to like express myself as an artist. I'm not really a skilled, drawing artist or painting artist. So, there's no way that I could draw or animate my own video. But I thought, I am skilled at crafting. What if I craft the set that I want to film the video on? I do have some skills with videography and photography. Why don't I just do it myself? And so I got to do it myself, which was really cool.
Do it a yourself.
Yeah, which was really enjoyable, because I think that's like kind of one of the fun parts of being like a virtual idol. I put that in scare quotes with my fingers. But a big part of being a VTuber is it's sort of like the intersection of like, traditional East Asian and Japanese idol culture, where, your music is a little cringy or a little cheesy, but it's the lyrics you wrote yourself, or it's the dance you put together yourself, and you worked really hard, and as you improve, you're getting bigger and you're getting better, and it's the improvements in your music and your costume and your song and your dance are all these gifts that you give back to your community. And so for me, getting to make my own video was sort of like an homage to that, in getting to like use my own artistic skills to give this gift back to my community, as opposed to just, budgeting a whole bunch of money and paying other people to do absolutely everything.
Agree.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
wonderful.
fun.
I'm glad you had a nice re-debut.
I did. It was so much fun. I will say we stayed up the night before to finish filming until midnight, and then I had the day off work. I'm very proud of myself that I planned to take the day off work, because I did spend that entire day off editing what we had finished filming the night before.
Very nice.
So definitely in the future, I would give myself more time than I thought I needed if I want to ever make another sort of like 3D set filmed video type of thing ever again. will give myself more time, but I'm very happy and proud that I got to see it through to the end, and I'm really glad that so many people got to enjoy it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, we already have a little mini stream like lined up for when we put those little adorable edible sets together.
Yeah, we get to be like matching cute little anime characters together while we make poppin' cookin'.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about that.
I am very excited about that.
Poppin' Cookin' is one of the most interesting kind of candy kits that I've ever come across.
I know. I can't
They're
wait.
fun.
I haven't put one of these together since like I was 12. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I bought 4 of them. I've put together 2, and I've saved 2 specifically to do as a stream activity. So I'm excited to get to do one with Nancy.
Well, here's the thing about those. When I was 12, they only had so many things you could do with a little kit like that.
yeah.
right?
Whereas
And now the technology's evolved so much that there's a lot more that you could do, and they've also become a lot more intricate.
yeah, like there's such a big variety of them. There's so many different flavors, and there's so many different like things that they've come up with for how to construct a candy that it's
Mhm.
just like, whoa.
The last set that Dio and I did together had you building all the different pieces, all the different components of like a cake kit.
Yeah.
And then assembling all those different components into like a cake with like double layers, cream between each layer.
Wow.
Yeah.
The gummy strawberries and fruits on top. It was crazy.
A little
The
mini
back of
piping
the
bag.
package
Oh my
was
god.
a whole plate set. It was made to look like a plate set, so you could make it look like a fancy dessert set.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was really detailed and intricate. It was so much fun.
And then I remember the first one that we ever did was like a ramen and yakitori kit.
Yes,
And
that's
it
right.
was so crazy because this little bowl of ramen, it looked like an 1.5 inch wide bowl of ramen. The noodles looked like real ramen noodles. The broth looked like real ramen broth. And then you ate it and it tasted like Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it was like soda flavored.
I never
That's
want to
bizarre
hear those
to me.
combination of words ever again.
That's a little bizarre to me. It's like I'm eating a miniature ramen, but it tastes like Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It
like,
was very mentally distressing.
It was a very
I
weird
loved
experience.
It was really great.
I could imagine.
I will say that Poppin' Cookin' doesn't taste like the best candy in the world, but let's be real, that's not the point.
Yeah,
No.
the point
That's
isn't the
isn't
candy.
building- That's like saying like, Kinder Surprise, that chocolate is kind of mid. Yeah, of course the chocolate's mid, but that's because you get a little toy in the middle of
And
it.
you get to put the toy
Yes.
together. Like that's the
But
fun.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. They need to make adult Kinder Surprises.
Adult
Yes.
Because
Kinder
the same
Surprises?
company, the
Yes.
same company that makes Kinder Surprise is the same company that makes Ferrero Rocher. So if I were to get a Ferrero Rocher wrapped
Lego.
like Lego, yeah, like toy, that's the good shit.
Oh my god! I don't listen. I need the Ferrero Rocher company to understand that we need this. Like I want.
What sort of toys would you like to see in an adult-themed Kinder Surprise?
Honestly,
Like-
I just want better stuff that was from my childhood when toys were better.
Yeah.
So are
Because
you
now
thinking,
they just
like,
get little.
Do you
like, they
remember
just get little-
Mechanics, where it was the
crappy
sheets of metal
cardboard.
that you actually bolted and nutted together?
Oh wow.
Are you thinking things like that?
What did you just say?
So there were like mechanics toys. Think of like K-Nex or like adult Lego, like the Lego Technic sets,
Yeah.
except actually metal with real nuts and bolts that you put together.
No, I don't think that's what Jay wants.
Yeah, I think Jay walked into a couple of syllables that cut off a lot of context.
Yeah, I think what Jay wants is like, think about like the little. Do you remember when we went to Japan and I got like the little gachapon and it was like a miniature, like they had like the little miniature trains and like the little miniature food sets. And the idea is you take them home and you kind of unpack them and you put them together and it's almost like a little Plamod set.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
think Jay
maybe
wants something
something
like
like
that.
Yeah,
So-
or
What
like,
if there was a chocolate egg and you bit into it and you got in the little capsule inside? It was a terracotta pot with dirt starter and herb leaves.
Ooh.
So you can eat the chocolate and get an herb garden out of it.
Wow, that's highly specific, and
That's
I kind of
so
love it.
specific. I am kind of into it though.
Yeah, me too.
What if
One
you
time,
got like
No,
very nice,
I don't want
nice
that.
looking jewelry?
one
Like maybe
time,
not like
Nope,
actual
I don't
gold
want
or
that.
silver, but like a good looking stainless steel chain.
Okay, so,
there
those
is-
do exist in the
Yeah.
form of bath bombs.
yeah,
And
they're
so-
in bath
Really?
bombs and they're
Yes.
in candles.
Yeah. Oh yeah, candles too.
Yeah.
Actually, that does sound like the adult equivalent of a Kinder Surprise then.
But I want to
No.
know what
No.
I want to know what I want to know what
That's-
Jay wants. Like I do want the chocolate version with
Mhm.
something in it. But
I
what
want
does Jay
Ferrero Rocher with like the hazelnut filling and the nicer
Yummy.
chocolate. Maybe it comes in a dark chocolate variation, as
Yum.
Ferrero Rocher
Adult chocolate.
does. And then I just want like something that like an adult would want to fiddle with, but doesn't necessarily want to commit to. Like that's what a toy should be for an adult.
So
in
a
a sense.
Ferrero Rocher with a 2x2 piece of bubble wrap inside.
No, I want like I want one of those little like you can assemble little like toothpick shooters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I want
Yes.
something like that.
Like a little
Yes.
mini slingshot.
Yeah,
time
or something
I got
like,
a little Kinder Surprisey type thing, but inside it was a little like Lego set to put the Android mascot together. Because it was like a thing that they were
Oh,
giving away
interesting.
at like some Google event, and it was like, oh, this is kind of cute. And yeah, 100%. The joy I got out of that was for building the little
Yeah.
Android dude, not the chocolate, not anything
Yeah.
else. I don't see. That's kind of the problem with me and Plamod in general. I like the building process, but once I'm done,
You're like, I'm
I
good.
may as well
I don't
just
need
give
this
it away.
anymore. Yeah. You're like, I got my enjoyment from it in the act of building
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
So-
One of the things that I
A
love.
Ferrero Rocher with acrylic Otafest charms inside.
Ooh,
Okay, I would be into that actually.
Okay.
That would be kind of cool.
my ears are perked.
But I was gonna say one of the things that I loved, and I would love to see this in like a chocolate. Like this would really fit the theme. When we were in the Narita airport, there was a gachapon machine with gachapon machines inside it.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen those.
And so you take it home, and it's like it has a little sticker sheet, and you put all the little plastic pieces together, and it's a miniature gachapon machine, and it has little balls that go in the miniature gachapon machine, and a little mini dial, and it spins, and you can actually do the gachapon in the gacha. I'm like I'm obsessed
reminds
with
me.
this.
That reminds me. I don't remember. I don't think it's an official Lego thing, or if it is, it might be exclusive to like Asia region or Japan region. But so Rob S has these little model sets. Essentially,
Uh-huh.
I think there's one of like he has of like a Lawson's or like a 7-Eleven.
Oh
where
my
it's
god!
like literally like it's a mini little set, and then it has a little parking lot, a little sign.
Oh my god!
And
I
it's
want
got like
that.
and it's got the like the combini signage up top, and it's a little store, and I think that's just
so
really cute. Yeah,
I want
it's
that.
maybe like 6 inches by 4 inches at most, or something like that. It's really nice.
I wish the viewers could see my
So
face
a
because
very
I'm
large
so happy.
Ferrero Rocher with a 5 to 6 inch Lego set inside of it.
Yes,
I'm okay
Yes.
with that.
I need
I-
that so bad.
I'm okay with that.
A Ferrero Rocher the size of an ostrich egg.
yeah.
Honestly,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm an adult.
Yes.
Yeah, I need a bigger
Yes.
chocolate. Yeah.
We need the big boy chocolate.
We need
We
adult
need the
chocolate
big
with
boy
adult bacon
episode.
in it.
Adult bacon. Ooh,
Adult bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go for some of that on next
I
week's
said-
episode of the
Next
Otafest
week's
podcast.
episode.
Okay. Next week's episode.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.